Hey everyone, good morning. Something I want to talk about today is how we create stories to simplify the world around us. So, and people may be familiar with that, creating stories in your head. Something someone does to you, you turn it into, oh, they don't like you, when in reality it's just this little, they passed by you without acknowledging you, right? And also parts of ourselves, like, oh, I'm a bit of a pirate. I like to live outside, and that, limiting stories that, while they may sound positive, oh, she's a nice person, oh, she's always so nice, can be limiting even when they're positive. So where this comes from is that we only have so much capacity to consciously process all the information around us. And I'm gonna close this window. So our subconscious can process, something like 40,000 bits per second of information, and our conscious mind can only process a fraction of that. So what do we do with that? Okay, so we need something that represents all points. So you can imagine a filing cabinet, where the story is the filing cabinet and the chapters are the drawers. You have to pull the drawers open to look inside. So what is that? Well, that's where my mission statement comes in. I encourage radical curiosity in everyone. I do that for myself, in my art, in my coaching practices. And the purpose is, you have the filing cabinet, right, as a metaphor, and you have the drawers even, right? And then let's say you're in the practice of rifling through the drawers and looking for the folder that you want, and let's say you skim over it, right? I think a lot of people are in that stage. Well, each component has subcomponents. So while we can't process that every moment of every day, we can reprocess that if it's not working for us. So this is where, story, we're surrounded by stories constantly, but the ones that work well for us, we can kind of capitulate on, or go into and really get juicy and add a layer of gratitude to each, and find what's working and pump it up. But more often, our work is to find something that's not working and reconceptualize it. So, you say you go in and you have to start somewhere. So say it's your relationship to your dad. Well, he's just not that emotionally available. Okay, well, that's a story. So what else is behind that? And in my case, I won't go into the details but for example purpose, the next step there would be, well, where does that idea come from that he's not emotionally available? So we look at a few examples in the past and we think, okay, well, maybe it's not as simple as he's not available. It's that he has a lot that he's thinking about. He has a lot of, say, emotion. So it seems at first glance that he's lacking in emotion, or that he's not available because he doesn't have much to offer, when the reality is the opposite. He's a flurry of emotions, but they're happening really deep down inside of him, and he's just not willing or wanting to share that. And so immediately then we've looked in that file, we've pulled it out, and we've realized, oh, there's a history. He has his own history. And so we can develop compassion that already softens the blow. Well, I feel like he could have been a little bit more emotionally present with me, but I understand that it's not because of a lack of emotionality in him. So what does this mean? Another metaphor besides the filing cabinet is juice. You get fresh juice, or a milkshake if you're into milkshakes. Although in that case it melts, but with the juice it settles, right? You get this fresh squeezed juice, and within a minute, it has separated out and settled. You have like kind of a water layer, and then you have like a light green, if it's a green juice, a light green layer, and then you have the sediment. And so the reason that I encourage radical curiosity in people, in myself, is that, something's only worth what it is when it's in motion, when it's being stirred, when it's being used, when it's being utilized, when it's being tapped into, whatever the case may be. So in the case of the juice, it may seem silly, but you're going to want to be stirring that each time you drink it. It's not just, it doesn't just exist on its own. Everything exists in relationship, in some kind of dynamic, in some kind of dynamic space where it's always moving. A car is not a car. I'm sure people have seen cars sitting on the side of the road, or people's houses that have grass growing up through the tires. It's clear a car is not a car when it's just sitting there. It needs to be used, fluids put into it and gone through it. As humans, even when we're not sweating, we're drinking water because water is that fluid that goes into us and through us. There's this motion that we have, that we carry through life. And so my encouragement in my coaching practices, in my meditation practices, in my artwork, is for people to think and feel into and through something, not just seeing it as a block, but interacting with it. A couple of my card games that I've developed have an interactive component where you're where you're taking something that isn't otherwisely that should be a new adverb, otherwisely normal aspect of life, and kind of injecting it with curiosity, and you come out with something fun or silly or authentic or honest. And so, yeah, this process, if you want something to visualize with, if you need something to kind of anchor, a visualization to anchor, is imagine the stirring stick for that juice, or your straw when you're kind of mixing around your juice or milkshake or whatever the case may be, getting to all the goodies. Imagine that your straw is your consciousness, is your choosing, is your feeling. How much do you want to get out of it? It's your choice. Use the stirring stick. And that stirring stick is radical curiosity. Oh, also, so go in the link in my bio to the Kickstarter and click notify me on launch. It launches March 30th. If you're watching this video after March 30th, go into the Kickstarter, check out my project. It's called Heart Forward. It's a way to live authentically out of your heart space, using radical curiosity, honesty, silliness, interactive components where you dance out the cards. It basically combines tarot, truth or dare, and radical self-expression. Super exciting. Go check it out. Thank you, guys.